Can you believe it? Is it Earth Day? Are we mourning the end of the Super League? I have no idea what's going on, but this is Draped in Gold across the ring and across the pond, your slice of NXT and NXT UK recap content. My name is Flobo Boyce, and we're going to talk about wrestling for the next hour or so. And if you haven't already, on that Facebook, that YouTube, that Twitter, or Twitch, say hello, follow, like, subscribe. You know the deal. But as always, I am not alone. We're talking about the man that does everything wrestling, everything live entertainment, and everything looking fly in a suit and tie. Give it up for Jack Farmer. How's it going?
Flobo Boyce, it is Earth Day, and just like always, though, here it's always Earth Day, whether it's in America or UK or whether competitors are coming from any other country in the world, we're talking about it. We're breaking it down. Draped in Gold isn't just gold because of the color. It's gold because it's first place, everything and anything, and that's what we do. I'm glad to be here.
Good shout out to Sock Monkey Mike. He says, I'm his hero. Yeah, well, Jack Farmer was on your show. TK Trinidad was on your show.
Oh,
when
man.
does Flobo get an invite? Anyway, so NXT
on blast.
Gotta blast them all, man. NXT UK was a pretty solid show because, like, everything counts. We were starting to sing this off air. Like, everyone seems to have a reason end of season. Main event first. Shawn Samuels, Noam Dar, co-host of the funniest show on television, taking on Mustache Mountain, first time in the BT Sport Arena. Jack Farmer, walk me through this.
Yeah, like we were saying off air, everyone is dangerous in NXT UK. There's no one who's just a goofball idiot that slips on a banana peel and looks stupid all the time. Even the guys that are funny will kill you if you slip up for just a little bit. That leads me to Shawn Samuels. He's a show stealer. I love this dude. My favorite part happened early in the match when Trent Seven gets tagged in. And he goes, "Oh, now you want to get in, Granddad." It was so amazing.
Yeah.
And Noam Dar is so entertaining as well. And as much as they make me laugh, both of these guys, like I said, they're so good in the ring. I'm also a fan of both Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, obviously, the big, strong boys. But early on in this match, I think you could see that the fact that they haven't been tag teaming for a long time showed that the tag team division has continued to evolve while they stepped away. This tag team, Noam Dar and Shawn Samuels, haven't been tag teaming in NXT UK, even though they know each other. This is their first time here in NXT UK. They still seemed crisp and quick and cutting off the ring and kind of out tag teaming these guys that are the veteran tag team. And to me, this match really showed that just because you take a break doesn't mean that everyone else does. Now, Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, they're two of the best in the world, and they took advantage of a moment when the ref was distracted and almost pinned Samuels, but Samuels got through, and that was a good time. But eventually, of course, that veteran tag team workmanship that those two have came through. Mustache Mountain gets a big win, but I'll be honest, for me, the big story is I still want to see more Noam Dar and Shawn Samuels. They were so fun.
Yeah, I'm with you. Every time Noam Dar gets on the screen, it's kind of like, you know what, I want to see you wrestle more. But this, having him in the tag team, even though you said the tag team division was pretty stacked, was pretty rad to me. It's like, it's like a fun treat to see how can Noam Dar gnome it up without being in the ring. And that was a question we had answered today. I'm never jumping ahead here, but Sock Monkey and Mike had this question that I wanted to know an answer real quick. That way you can, during this. Is Johnny Gargano one of your all-time favorites in NXTs? That also includes UK, of course, because we're talking about UK right now.
Yeah, Sock Monkey Mike, that's an amazing question.
Moving on. Well, here's the thing about the tag team division. Now, if Mustache Mountain are both there, would you, if you were Johnny Saint or Sis Gala, would you put them together in a definite basis? Or would you find these guys to be two ships passing in the night? Would you have them combine like Voltron when there's a threat? How would you use both these men?
It's interesting because I think they could do either or. And I feel like it's a cop-out answer to be like, oh, they could do whatever they want. Lamb makes a good point here in the chat, as you have up on the screen. Since the launch, it is like they don't know what to do with Trent Seven, really. Trent Seven is so pliable. You can put him anywhere. Same thing with Tyler Bate. So
division.
Good. You can put him anywhere. But then it's almost one of those things. It's having too many choices can sometimes be not having enough choices, if that makes sense.
Because
you just don't have you don't have anything. Like, there's so much, but there's so little. I don't know. They could do both. They could do anything. I think either one of them could be successful anywhere. I've always known Tyler Bate is great. I think we've all known that for a long time. Trent Seven, to me, I've always known he was good, but his lead up to the Heritage Cup, or to the Cruiserweight match, I'm sorry, to his Cruiserweight match, really showed that guy is great just in general. I think he can stand out on his own. I think a lot of people may have already known that about Trent Seven, but that's where he went from good to great for me, was all the build up to him cutting weight, getting to that title match, and having that match. Both of them could do anything, really.
Yeah, once Trent Seven said that he was the oldest person on the roster, my mind was blown. And I've been a fan from him ever since. Like, my knees cheer every time Trent Seven comes out. You got it, Grandpa. You can totally do it. But yeah, they were on the winning end of it. Mustache Mountain still one of the great tag teams in the brand. They can use them like a weapon whenever it needs you. You put them on a marquee instant main event. So I was rolling with that. Speaking of main events, though, question I have. And this comes after the fallout from our opening contest. Joe Coffey, the Iron King. I love how he folds his arms up here. Dallas boys on top, right?
Yeah.
Had a match.
Like his high.
Yeah, it's weird. That's the way you can do it. Had a match against your boy, Eddie Dennis. Now, I am not going to gloat, because this is not League of the Week. I'm not going to say defend your guy, because there's lots of reasons why Eddie Dennis got flattened. Because, frankly, a layer to the chest will make anyone collapse into a heap. But I have questions, Jack Farmer. This new group that Eddie rolls with, because now they officially are no longer the Hunt, getting involved with Gallus. It looks like it's going to be a collision course between all two factions. Is this the best use of Eddie Dennis's time and resources?
Flobo, you said that you're not going to ask what I think and you want to gloat, but listen.
I'm not going.
Eddie Dennis. Nope. When a man that's outweighed by that much as Eddie Dennis was going into this match, you have to know he has a plan, and he did. He reminded us constantly it's wrestling and not boxing, and he even survived the early barrage, used his brains, the ropes, the rules, and everything else to his advantage. To his credit,
he's multi-defensive. You're also defensive.
He traded blows and actually threw around Joe Coffey and even brawled with him. Unfortunately, the best game plan doesn't work if outside forces show up and start attacking and assaulting your friends. I wish this was a fair fight, but I guess Joe Coffey and Gallus were actually smart enough to know they couldn't win a fair fight. So they had to get physical on the outside. It's a shame. I'm sad it happened that way. I'm just glad that Eddie Dennis is a strong enough person to gather his resources and continue the fight.
You going to answer my question now or no?
What, that they're going to have a match later? That Eddie Dennis
you are so brainwashed, Jack. You didn't hear my question at all. You heard Eddie Dennis. You had a prepared statement. I said, but my question was, I understand what happened today, but is fighting Gallus the best use of Eddie Dennis's resources? Because this guy, he's as smart as you say he is. Yeah. He should be out taking over the world, not dealing with a faction that has seen better days. But yet, here is so into Eddie Dennis. She just forgot, got lost in the whole thing.
Yeah. Gallus is just a group of ruffians. That's a fair point. I can't argue. Hey, yeah. But Gallus is just a group of ruffians, Flobo, and they get in everyone's business. They get in everyone's way. Look at Rampage, just trying to hang out backstage, and they're picking fights with him.
Just trying to hang out. No one hangs out backstage or in the parking lot.
And so Eddie Dennis knows that as long as you have chaos like that, things that can interfere in your plans, the way they interfered in his match, you can't get things done. So he's doing the smart thing. He's routing out all of that so that he can clear that out of the way, so that then he can pursue the important things, the big things, the biggest things, the best things. That's what Eddie Dennis is doing. This is like the part when you want to build a house, you got to first clear out a bunch of dirt so you can put in the foundation. That's what he's doing. He's clearing out the dirt.
Last question on this subject, because it just makes me so mad. So we've known officially with the title screen that it's going to be Eddie Dennis, T-Bone, and Primate. So they're not calling themselves The Hunt. But if you had a chance to give them a name, what would you call them?
The smartest group in all of professional wrestling history.
That fits in a t-shirt. Absolutely. Okay.
You would put it as initials on the shirt.
Oh wow, like the world's greatest tag team thing Charlie Haas and Benjamin were doing back in the day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Lamb says Eddie Dennis Sable's going after the most dominant UK tag team champions and a main event player, and Joe Coffey take their spot. Of course, it's smart. I know. I was playing little mind games, and Jack fell into my trap because he has a prepared statement. He was waiting to see I was going to hate on Eddie Dennis. I would never do such a thing because Eddie Dennis watches our show now. Yes.
I will say I was impressed with Joe Coffey. I think he tried to lure Eddie Dennis into his style of match and in his style of brawl and muscle bound throwing people around, and he kind of did. But I got to admit, you got to admit, Joe Coffey is probably impressed by the way someone like Eddie Dennis was able to throw him around and punch him and beat him up. So I think he probably surprised Joe Coffey a little bit, but Joe Coffey did have a game plan.
Here's my notes. Gallus and the rest of the hunt get involved. Frankly, it was delaying the inevitable as Eddie Dennis got destroyed. What a chump. Moving on. In the women's division.
Got destroyed. Did you see that move where he caught him and then swung him around and slammed him?
Did you see the move where he got the headbutt and the lariat? Because that's what Eddie Dennis was. He turned him into two-dimensional pictures. Flat.
That was after Gallus came out and attacked people, assaulted for no reason whatsoever. T-Bone and Primate didn't hit anybody or attack anyone or touch anyone, just to be clear.
They just want to get a better look. Just wanted to get close.
They're his friends.
They're his friends. I don't think T-Bone's anyone's friend, actually.
If you're ever attacked by someone,
you won't come.
I'm going to stay back and be like, look, Flobo made it clear he does not want his friends out there.
Really? So when I'm flailing around saying, Jack, help me, you're going to be like, well, you made it clear.
That will be the reason I don't come out. It has nothing to do with cowardice.
Wow. Well, speaking of people with terrible manners, we had ourselves a match based on manners as Dave Mastiff and Sam Gradwell hit into the ring based on the interaction they had a couple of weeks ago. Now, we're saying this last week or it was the week before because what is time, bro? That both these men are formidable, but they're kind of on losing streaks. And so one person had to win, and that winner was Sam Gradwell. Of course, that's two questions I have, Jack. You could probably tell. One, what's up with Dave Mastiff, man? He looked focused going to the ring, but it wasn't enough. And two, what's next for Sam Gradwell? Now he has some mojo.
I love Sam Gradwell, man. I was thinking as I was watching this, Sam Gradwell is UK's answer to Chuck Liddell. It doesn't matter if he's your favorite or if you think he has no chance to win or if you think he's going to win by a big mile. He's always going to be entertaining. And no matter who he fights, it's going to be a fight that leaves everyone feeling sore the next day. He's also smarter than he gets credit for the mind games and work in the back that helped him get the colossal win with an earth-shaking slam to Dave Mastiff. Figuratively and metaphorically, as Nigel said, biggest win so far, well earned. I can't wait to see who he faces next. I don't know. He's going to pick a fight with someone, though, probably the first person he sees backstage. That seems to be Sam Gradwell's way of doing things. As far as Dave Mastiff goes, he's on a skid. He's on a slide. He needs to figure something out. I don't know. I think something maybe he should try is training with Piper Niven.
Stop. I mean, I think it's a good idea, but you don't like Piper Niven. I don't want any of that double-handed, backhanded.
You can't tell me that she's a game changer for Jack Stars and then be like, oh, that's not going to help Dave Mastiff any.
I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying you mean that sarcastically, and I know you do.
I do, because I don't think it'll help.
Well, I mean, if it's anything else, I mean, work for Gallus. Give yourself a little bit of a promo package to Trent 7. Go out there and have a training video. That could be the start of something. Great. But I would say walking to the ring, I thought Massive had this in the bag.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, I love Sam Gradwell. Like I said, I was comparing him to Chuck Liddell because I think if Chuck Liddell got a UFC match today, it would still sell because he's so entertaining. Yeah. I think Sam Gradwell is the same way. Even though a Chuck Liddell match in UFC today, he probably wouldn't be the favorite in that match. It'd still be fun to watch, though. Sam Gradwell is the same way. Even if you don't think he's the favorite, he's incredibly entertaining to watch. I didn't really think he was the favorite going into this match. Now, I like him. I enjoy watching him. I didn't think he was the favorite. So the fact that he was able to come out with just a clean-cut, well-done win was incredibly impressive. And like I said, there was no shenanigans to it. You know, sometimes in wrestling things happen. Like Joe Coffey, he got a win, but there was a bunch of shenanigans.
It was pretty clean. It was clean.
But,
it was a very clean win. Easy pin.
But Sam Gradwell just straight up beat the guy. And Now, if he was as talkative and as feisty on a losing streak, Flobo, I can't imagine what Sam Gradwell is going to be like now that he's got a massive win.
Well, kind of going out of order here, but who also had a massive win last week was Kenny Williams, but now there's a rematch on the horizon with Amir Jordan, but this one's a little different because his scholar just totally acquiesces to whatever his talent wants and puts a contract on the line in a loser leaves NXT UK match. Never done before on the brand. I'm not sure if it was the smartest decision, get rid of your talent either way to settle a personal vendetta, but Amir Jordan, Kenny Williams on the horizon, 1-on-1 rematch, loser leaves town. Jack, what?
It's interesting because even though Sid Scala just basically took the direction of Kenny Williams, he still was there to take the contract and hand it on over to Amir Jordan and explain the contract. Still a huge step up from what William Regal ever seems to do. I never see him hand over contracts and explain them, but I digress.
Really? It's the worst wrestling show ever.
I think that this is a great opportunity for Amir Jordan to find something else to do. He's just not aggressive enough to be in NXT UK. He's just not mean enough. I'm still flabbergasted that he was upset that he was about to become a champion. He was about to become a champion and he was upset about it. Come on, man. If you're upset, regardless of how it happens, this isn't for you. So I think Kenny Williams might do him a favor. Give him something else to do.
Wow. I want to beat you up so bad you have to leave town. All right, good to know. Never be Jack's
I
friend,
mean, it was Amir's choice. I mean, Kenny Williams, see, again, and this is a perfect example. Amir comes in there all hot and bothered, like he's really upset about something. But Kenny Williams, like, oh, if you're upset, how about loser leaves town? Oh, now Amir's like, oh my gosh, what happened? I don't know. That's exactly the point. That's it. Kenny Williams is aggressive. Kenny Williams wants blood. Kenny Williams isn't playing around. That's why Kenny Williams is successful. Amir Jordan, he's hesitating. That hesitation, that second of hesitation, that's the thing holding him back, Flobo. That's the difference.
Why are we friends? Moving on. I don't know either. Flip the coin. It's like, wait a minute. You've said many times that I have to be more aggressive. You won't help me out. Like, why do I? Okay. Moving on.
In the women, we were friends.
Yeah, for real. Please don't leave me. I need a co-host. So our women's division got a little bit of a shifting alliance as well. As Dani Luna had a match with Ginny, which the former number one contender was about inches short of becoming the next women's champion. Had a match with Ginny, won pretty handedly, but of course, you know all about alliances here. Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews made the save after Ginny was beating down Dani Luna after the fact. And well, since you hate people training with other people, Jack, what do you make of this?
The story here is Ginny. I mean, she came out one of her best outfits to date, which is saying something. Connors also dressed well under her guidance. This was a big win for Ginny. I don't think it's fair to just brush this win under the rug and then talk about what Dani Luna's doing, even though Dani Luna lost. We should be talking about Ginny. Ginny bounced back from a very tough championship opportunity and is now piling up big wins. This is a big win for her. And look, because Dani's no pushover. I mean, everyone in NXT UK is tough. But like Dani's one of the strongest in the women's division, and she got a win. We should be talking about how great Ginny is right now. Now, as far as Dani training with Flash Morgan Webster, and it's good for her. That's great. That's fun. All right. I like it. I mean, it makes sense. You know, I talk about aggression. I'm glad that she's now trying to outnumber Ginny. I think that's a smart move on her part. But the fact is, Ginny won. Ginny's moving on. Ginny's doing big things. I think this is a great move for her.
Looks like Ginny put on 15 pounds of muscle in this contest because for a while, Dani Luna would be the most lower center of gravity woman on the roster. This one's pretty large. If I'm looking at Kaylee Ray eyeing the competition, maybe a Ginny 2 might have a different outcome when it's all said and done.
I will never bet against Kaylee Ray. She just passed 600 days. She is unstoppable. She's the champion of champions. She's the greatest. No one's touching her in the women's championship department.
Asterisks upon asterisks.
Hey, look, days are days. The calendar crosses each day off whether or not anything else is going on. She's still the champion. She's still defending it. And you look at the people she's defending against, Flobo, you can't act like she's ducking people. Come on.
I'm not saying she's ducking anybody. It's just, a lot of that time reigns when she was at home.
I mean, if you want to tell Walter the same thing, be my
I do.
guest.
This is why I say from 3,000 miles away, which is why, as of right now, I still consider Pete Dunne the greatest United Kingdom champion.
No.
Of course, hold on. Of course, over time, when this 2020 gap year becomes a figment of our imagination, it will probably be erased. But right now, as of today, I still think Pete Dunne is the greatest because of that 7, 8, 9 month layoff. That's him, Kaylee Ray.
Well, since both of them are going to have their titles forever, then it doesn't matter.
What am I arguing? Yeah, exactly. Old man yells at cloud. Before we roll over to NXT Prime or NXT Classic, there was a promo I wanted your opinion on from Rohan Raja, and I had to write this down because he threw a lot of things at me in that promo. He's a quote, Sikh sworn, British-born, Australian raised, Canadian trained professional wrestler, and he has a match against Teoman next week. Now, it seems that debuting talents don't have the greatest fortunes in NXT UK, but I feel something special about Rohan. Thoughts?
I loved this promo. I love that he has all these different backgrounds. I think it's so cool. I've always said NXT is the true NXT UK is the true melting pot of pro wrestling, where you really get people from all over. And he himself, as an individual, is someone from all over. He's been around. He's been to a ton of places. I think he's going to bring a lot. He reminds me so much of the old journeyman kind of wrestlers that would wrestle at a bunch of different promotions before getting to the big stage. And him being from different places, training in different places, and now coming to a different place. I think it's a huge, huge thing. Teoman is in trouble. I think he debuted recently, had a few wins, and he's already got someone gunning for him. I think that this is going to be very interesting. I don't think both of them can walk away from that match with their stock value intact, if you know what I mean.
I think I actually ran away, so I could monkey mic off. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean it. All right, so moving on, moving on to NXT Prime.
Sorry about monkey mic. I was just playing by not answering your question.
Ooh. Let's talk about NXT Classic or Prime. Still getting used to the Tuesday Night Delight. That's just weird to say, but I enjoyed this. But let's talk about the main event first because it bookended the episode. The one who's going by Cool Kyle in a certain way, had a main event against Cameron Grimes. And, well, Cameron Grimes has shown that he is 100% him, definitely game, and was just trying to help Cool Kyle, but got punched in the face for his efforts and lost the match at, well, whatever. Talk about this. Kyle O'Reilly on a path to greatness on his own, Cameron Grimes being Cameron Grimes, and our main event Tuesday night.
So much to unpack here because this was basically the story. This was the story of the show. My first takeaway is I now 100% understand why Adam Cole wouldn't let Kyle O'Reilly dress himself.
Fair. I agree with you.
Now Kyle O'Reilly made a few comments about what title he would go for. And then he made a reference, like a time reference. And I really, really wanted him to say Kushida. But he said Karrion Kross, and
you got to stop with that time stuff for Kushida. We'll probably get to that later today. It's the fact that he has old school skills in the future package. He's actually a time traveler. What are you doing?
Are you sure?
I'm semi-positive.
So I think it's cool that he's like stepping up his game. I think it's smart to be putting his name in there with Karrion Kross, but come on, man. Karrion Kross is a different kind of animal. Karrion Kross is a different type of beast. If you're Kyle O'Reilly, you got to be safe. You got to be careful. You just got out of a war with Adam Cole. Karrion Kross, he'll eat you for lunch. You got to be careful there, Kyle. I don't know if I liked this version of Kyle O'Reilly. It feels like it's a version I think a lot of people will like. I think it's going to be super popular. I think he's going to do very well with it. But for me, it feels like he's trying really hard to be the cool guy as opposed to just being a cool guy like he was before. He used to be very cool. Now it feels like he's trying to convince us that he's cool. He's already cool. You don't need to convince me.
So you're not a fan of everyman protagonists?
I don't know if I'd consider he seemed, I don't know, the hat and the glasses.
That hat looked like a drugstore hat. There's nothing more everyman than that. That was not fashion.
I don't know. It was, like I said, I liked him before. I liked how he was the Undisputed Era. But, it is what it is. I think the biggest thing here is Cameron Grimes, man. How do you not love this guy, Flobo? How do you not love what he's doing? How do you not cheer when you hear his music come on? How do you not sing along? How do you not say, to the moon? He used his DraftKings money and that he bet on Cool Kyle, got some NFTs, got some KO coins. I don't understand where Kyle O'Reilly gets off punching Cameron Grimes in the face like that. I thought it was very uncool of Cool Kyle. And again, it seemed like he was kind of being a jerk. He was trying to be too cool. I don't know why you don't say, look, man, you're this guy, Cameron Grimes, tons of money, clearly successful. Luck seems to be with you. You're being friendly. You're being nice. You're trying to help me out. Why wouldn't you take his help?
I kind of agree with you. Like, I feel like obviously this match is going to happen anyway, but the fact that Kyle made him look around the ring and then punch him in the face was kind of messy. Yeah. Something Jack Farmer would do, really, a sucker punch. But I do think it was interesting, the fact that he did the way he did. So
yeah, it was kind of a jerk move. After trying to get me to like you so much, now you sucker punch one of the most lovable guys on TV. But
lovable? Well,
tell me Cameron Grimes isn't lovable.
Well, the one person that doesn't love him is Ted DiBiase, apparently. Just foiling his plans for no reason. What's going on with that?
Pull back the curtain. After that moment happened, as I was watching it, as I texted you, they should have just ended the show there because that was just the perfect chef's kiss. No better way to end. That was such a fun moment. I don't know where this is going. I hope and pray Ted DiBiase shows up. I hope and pray he comes back. I don't know what the plan would be. I just want to see them stare down. I think it'd be amazing. I mean, I'm so excited about this. Everything about it, it's like a story that's playing out. This is perfect. This is what wrestling's all about. It's a story that's being told and building up and getting better as it goes.
It's definitely like one of those Xia Li things. It's going to be all off camera for months, and then you're going to see him. You're like, oh!
Can you imagine his music hitting that music and then oh man, it's going to be so good. Is he going to get the $1 million championship? That would be amazing.
It is kind of funny. It's literally old money versus new money. Ted DiBiase was rich because he was rich, but Cameron Grimes is a Beverly Hillbilly, quite frankly, except for the oil,
I don't know if I'm looking too far into it, but there's almost a part of me that thinks that it's actually very clever how you have this guy who's kind of a dummy, who doesn't really understand anything, but is getting super rich off these investments that he doesn't really understand and doesn't really get what they are, which is kind of what a lot of people are doing, And I don't know if there's almost some sort of level of commentary on the way the stock market and all this stuff is happening right now and how people are throwing money at NFTs, but I don't think a lot of people even understand what an NFT is with the cryptocurrency and things like this. I know some people do. I'm not saying no one knows what it is. I'm not making a commentary on whether or not the investment is good. I'm just saying it's interesting. You have this person and you see a lot of people on social media talking about investing in it, and they don't know what they're doing, but they just hear it's popular, so they do it. It's just an interesting commentary, I think, whether it's intentional or not. I think there's an interesting parallel there.
The whole world is watching NXT for body slams and drop kicks, and Drag's like, "Oh, the pathos of our society." It's really looking. Dylan Matthews says Cameron Grimes is so rich he's going to have a $2 million championship. It's going to be all digital too.
Hilarious.
Digital NFT. He's going to put it on the screen when he's on the match. But moving on, the other big story last night was the NXT debut of Sarai. Now, I have not seen Sarai before, even though I do dabble in some of the Japanese professional wrestling. So this was the first time for me to see this legend. I'm kind of embarrassed that was the first time. And Zoe Stark, very game, taking the brass ring, hitting up the boss, being like, what about me? Somehow screwing over somebody unseen because she took over that first spot. And frankly, hate talking about the other promotions, but if you're Kenny Omega, take notes because that entrance was fantastic. There was digital banners with her face on it. It looked like a big deal. And it was a Tuesday night show. Jack Farmer, a lot of things to unpack here, as always with the show. Sarai's debut, Zoe Stark taking the extra step to be in that match, and the presentation of it all.
Yeah, the biggest takeaway is how William Regal was like, oh, you want the match? Sure, whatever. I guess. I don't know. I don't even know who.
Yeah, he was like, I'll
whatever
just
you want. I don't know. I don't even remember who the match was. I didn't even finish booking that yet. So sure, whatever. You can have the match, Zoe Stark.
He said he had a point picked out. I felt bad if someone else was like, "Oh, sorry, Jessica Maya. Zoe Stark came up to me in the parking lot."
No, but in all seriousness, again, there is a lot to unpack here, and I don't usually go this route, but you're very right about if you're in another promotion looking at bringing in stars from another country, because the build up, the video packages, the way they presented her, the way people were talking about her, the way people are. Other wrestlers like Zoe Stark herself saying, look, I want to wrestle this person. I've been following your career. You're important. It made her feel important. I agree. I'm with you. I didn't actually watch any of her stuff before this. This is my first time seeing her as well, as opposed to other places that just kind of put people on and on commentary. They go, oh, by the way, if you've been watching other stuff, they're great. Yeah. And most of us go, oh, well, I haven't. And then that's it. That's the end of the conversation. Where this, not knowing anything about her, I got that this is a superstar feel coming in. And NXT is so good at this kind of stuff. And I know I kind of beat a dead horse with this, but NXT is just so good at saying this person's important. Watch them. You're going to like what you see. It's going to be historic. And that's exactly how this felt. This was done so well with her debuting.
I want to pull back the curtain just a little bit too, because even though I've been a wrestling fan for, I can actually say this, 30 years. Yeah, I know, right? I'm not as young and youthful as you are, Jack. The match told a good story. And I'm going to explain that to people who don't understand terms. I'm not trying to be holier than thou, but it's like, on one hand, you had Zoe Stark, someone that, and we'll get to them in quite a second, beat a former champion in Toni Storm in a dark match, or a preliminary match, excuse me. She beats Toni Storm, feels a little bit of her own potential, which is going against a legend. And so stepping up to face anyone with a reputation is something Zoe Stark had to do. At the same time, Sarai's in a brand new country, trying to show why she is as good as everyone says it is. And granted, there was no stakes. There was no titles on the line. There was no number one contendership on the line. But you can pick someone and root for them to win. And that's what I mean by storytelling. And that way, that told one of the best stories I've seen in a long, long time. And of course, afterwards, Toni Storm got involved. Toni.
Yeah. We've talked about workhorses over the years, and Zoe Stark is looking like that untamable stallion we call this generation's ultimate workhorse. I love that she competes almost every week, and when she does, it's always against the toughest competition, and facing that competition is because she's going out of her way and fighting to have those fights like we saw her do in the parking lot today. She's not just leaving her career to she's actually going out and making these things happen. So I think she's someone that, whether or not you like her or don't like her, or wherever you sit on the fence with her, she's that person that you grow to respect and love because she's always putting on great matches. She's working every single week, or at least most weeks. And that's why I think she's going to, if she continues this trajectory and she keeps doing these things, she's going to have that Mr. Perfect type of vibe to her, where maybe she'll be a jerk down the road, but everyone's like, yeah, but she's still pretty good. Maybe she'll be lovable, and yeah, she's still pretty good too. She's that person that every week just puts out great matches and does things like this. And I think that it's going to go very well for her if she continues to do this.
I think it's kind of the Mr. Perfect thing is pretty apt, because Hogan was bigger, Warrior was bigger, but I always felt like the thinking man's wrestler of the time was a Mr. Perfect. Mm-hmm. And maybe young people today will buy the Zoe Stark plushies, or they'll see her at Mania or SummerSlam or what have you. But she's completely her. She's very uniquely her. Has a little bit of old school glam, but definitely hits hard in the modern style. It's kind of a good mix. And I hope that she has a bright future here on the Black and Gold brand. But Jack Farmer, what's up?
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, and she looks fit. She looks strong too. I mean, she acts, maybe our expectations got raised a little bit after like a Bianca Belair came in and just showed us what fitness really is. But like, she has everything. She has the look. She stands out. She looks different. You're not going to confuse her with anybody else. And she's great. I think she's great. I think she's got a really good future ahead of her. As far as Saray goes, I think she showed us that she was everything that they've been promising her to be. She showed us that she can hang today, but now I think the question is just how high can she fly?
Sure. and only time will tell. But as I said, Jack Farmer, let me talk to ya. LA Knight, Dexter Lumis, matchups. Now we'll get to the way a little bit later, so let's hold off that stuff. The match itself. LA Knight looks like he's getting a little bit of steam after we were kind of worried and concerned about where he was going. And Dexter Lumis was very game, but LA Knight walks away with the win here.
Yeah, LA Knight, he's a great talker. Besides the talent and having the look, he can do it all. He's right, though. I don't understand why Indy Hartwell is interested in this Dexter Lumis guy. I'm just glad she listened long enough to distract Dexter Lumis so that LA Knight could get the win.
LA Knight did shoot a shot, though. That was pretty cool. Hey, you're the real man. Like, what? LA, what are you doing? Get to the guy with the beady eyes, bro. Take a hit.
When you talk as much as LA Knight, of course he's going to shoot his shot. To me, he's so good. He's one of those guys, even if he doesn't say anything, the fact that he's talking gets your attention. There's very few people that have that. And I don't want to sound like I'm just trying to overhype somebody, but he has something similar to like The Rock has, where The Rock can say nothing, but when he's talking, the way he talks gets you to pay attention. You know, you think about so many things. Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? What does that even mean? You know?
Right.
But the way he says it, you're like into it. And I think that LA Knight has that same thing where let me talk to you. It's just a fact of life. Like, what are you even saying? But I'm interested. I'm listening. I'm engaged.
Because he was, I mean, like his promo backstage was kind of like, okay, he's doing his match, but you're like, he walks in there and almost, and I want to say this respectfully as possible, he looks like a parody of a wrestler from a distance. You know, you look at his frame, look at him like, you know, but what he does it in such a timbre that makes you go, okay. And I can imagine, like, I didn't think I had an LA Knight impression. And I knew that guy for like 10 years back when he was Sean Ricker, but like saying LA Knight, you know, and saying, you know, that's not an insult. It's a fact of life. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
About it.
I mean, he's someone that you can tell if you had 15 guys in a room, a locker room or something, and you're all, some of them are, you know, maybe chatting about something. A few of them are maybe playing video games, whatever. Some people are like maybe getting their boots on or whatever. You can tell he walks into a locker room and he starts talking loud and he gets everyone's attention. And what's great about that is in pro wrestling, I always say it's a conflict sport. Some people are probably like, hey, that guy's kind of funny. I like him. But I bet a lot of them are like, this dude won't shut up. And I bet that is something that creates the conflict. I think that's great. I think that's what you want in pro wrestling. And so that's why he's going to get under skin of the Bronson Reeds and all the other people that now want to have matches with him. And I think that's what we're looking for. I can't imagine him walking into a room saying a few things and not getting people that have a strong opinion of him. And if the opinion is going to be either good or bad, you got a 50-50 shot. It's going to be bad. They're going to want to fight. And I want to see those fights.
So at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, are you a nice guy or are you a jerk?
I'm the nicest guy you'll ever meet, even on this show, Flobo. I don't know what you mean.
I don't know. True villains don't say they're villains.
But so Superman is going to be like, I'm a villain because a villain would.
Well, Lex Luthor never said he was a villain. He was a good guy in his story.
It's like saying one of us never lies. Well, well,
it's obviously you. You lie all the time.
I've never lied. Wait, am I saying that example right? One of us always lies, and one of us always tells the truth.
That's deep.
Something like that. I can't remember. I don't know. I've ruined it. Never mind.
Let's talk about the Way. I was not the biggest fan of the Way as a faction. I hated him 2/3. But I think top to bottom, they were another through line of NXT. I mean, between Indy Hartwell's love affair, Austin Theory being Austin Theory and Bronson Reed, and then Candace just being Candace. Talk to me. Did you have moments of like what I was like on the edge of my seat being like, these guys are hilarious? Are you done with them? Where does Jack Farmer stand?
To Sock Monkey Mike's point earlier, I hope he hasn't left us, but I love the Way. I love Johnny Gargano. I love everyone a part of this group. I think it's evolved into such a great show. Yes, yeah, me and the Bodega, we're homies. It's the what I like about this, I love how it's built and how it's become this thing. And it's so entertaining. The way they did that backstage segment where Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell were walking together, and then again, creepy old Dexter Loomis pops out there and distracts her. And then Candice still talking. Yeah, to your point, you're like, uh-oh. And then her talking to the tag team champions. I had to text you when it happened. I was verbal when she slapped the cup out of her hand. I'm watching it by myself, and I said some things I'm not going to say on air, but I was like, oh,
yeah, what a cartoon moment. And she got pulled inside. The dust clouds came out. It was great. It was amazing.
You have to give Candice LeRae some credit, though. Like, that takes guts to know you're outnumbered in a back alley somewhere, basically, and still slap the cup in someone's face, knowing that you're probably about to get beat up. You got to give her some credit for that.
I gave them a lot of credit, probably this week only, because I said for all the segments that are in, they seem fresh. But that cup toss, it was like, oh, you going to take that ever? Oh, she's not taking it. Okay. Oh. Stomp, stomp, stomp. She's not taking it.
I like your reference to the cartoon with the dust cloud. That is a perfect example. You could totally see it.
Yeah, poor Candice. It's like, poor Candice. He's going to be upset. But also, Austin Theory pretty much talked himself to another matchup against Bronson Reed next week, it seems. And if Bronson wins, which I'm hoping he does, he'll become the new number one contender for the North American Championship. And, well, Johnny was right. He pinned you last week, Austin. What are you doing?
The Austin Theory has had one of the best resurrections in a long time, and I wasn't 100% sure about it. I wasn't confident when it started, but he's doing so well in this role. He's so entertaining. He's funny. Bronson Reed, by the way, for being a colossal bruiser, just has a pleasant voice, doesn't he?
Yeah,
like, when he's talking, I was like, wow, that's actually kind of a pleasant voice. He could narrate.
He probably reads poetry and stuff, man. You could tell.
Like he could read a book on tape, and I'd be like, yeah, this is a pretty good book on tape.
I love it. Welcome to Hop on Pop. My Bronson Reed. Don't clip that, please. I don't want to get sued.
But this whole thing is done so well. Now, it does put Bronson Reed in a very interesting spot, though, because at this point, he's kind of in a do or die situation. If he doesn't come through, I don't know what's next for him. I love Bronson Reed, but after this many shots, what happens when you don't succeed? There's a lot more on the line than just the title, I think.
100%. This is why I was saying it looks like he's going to win, but you're right. If Bronson gets eliminated, loses next week, or maybe he beats Theory and he loses again to Johnny Gargano, I would stop and go, what's next? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that. I'm totally with you with that. And I'm a big Bronson Reed guy. I bought his shirt full price. It was something I never do on Chop Zone. That's, you know, I like you. Besides Bailey, she's awesome. She's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he's battle tested. So
oh, that song is dope, man.
The song's so good. The song's so good. It came on when I was working out this morning, and it totally pumps me up.
Oh, sick. That's on my pre-Rocket League playlist, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
And I concede so many goals. I'm like, I'm battle tested. Moving on to people who are battle tested. New look Kushida left his boots at home, and he's in the match against Oni Lorcan, a match that was clearly booked by Flobito, because who asked for Kushida for Oni Lorcan except for me? But Kushida was pretty solid in here, and Oni Lorcan looks like he's going to be a little bit of a bigger competitor. To my first question, besides what you thought the match was, that maybe the Cruiserweight title might be going to more of an X Division-esque kind of thing, Jack Farmer?
First, I think he looks so much better with the taped feet instead of the shoes. Last week, I'd said something about it just didn't feel right. With the taped feet, it is such a cool look. I loved it.
I disagree, actually, but I like to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I personally loved it. I'm always a little weird with no shoes, like a lot of people, because I'm always worried they're going to like break a toe or something. But from a visual standpoint, I thought it looked great. For a long time now, I think we've all believed that Kushida has felt like he needed to find his place, find his role in the division or in the company. And it feels like the Cruiserweight Championship is a perfect place for him. It's a place where he gets to show that whether it's yesterday, today, tomorrow, He's one of the best, and it lets him just let people come to him and try to test themselves. And I think this is great. I think this is a fantastic spot for him. I'm really happy for him. I think only good things are going to come from it. I love Kushida as the Cruiserweight champion.
I have to get used to him. I kind of liked his jeans and white boots phase. It felt like he was getting bigger. But this look now has him look a little smaller for the Cruiserweight title, I get. But maybe there is an open weight aspect to the Cruiserweight title. We'll have to wait and see. I hope so, because Jack was saying that having weight limits in wrestling is kind of unique or bizarre, I guess.
Yeah. Was this for the title?
It was an open challenge, so I assume so. He came out and said he wanted
Lorcan's
an open challenge.
There's no way he's under 205, right?
Well, Lorcan was a 205 live until he was part of the brand. Before he got the title with Birch, he was in 205 live as well. But Lorcan is obviously bigger now. So the question I have is like, is the Cruiserweight title going to be like a fast division title, a joint elimination title, or do you think it's going to stay based on weight?
I mean, I think it has to stay based on weight because weight's in the name. I mean, I guess heavyweight's in the name too, so that doesn't really hold weight there. But
you said it. Held weight.
Hold it. But actually, no, I was going to say they don't have a heavyweight title anymore in WWE. Now that I think about it, it's the Universal title, the WWE title, the UK title, and the NXT title.
I think heavyweight appears on the WWE title, but they don't mention it on air. Correct.
Does it say it? I don't know. If it says
I think it says heavyweight on the trim because I want to check it out on social media or Google. But yeah.
So maybe, I mean, if it's going to be called the Cruiserweight division, then I think that's important. With heavyweight, it's different because just the nature of it, it's almost like that's your max limit. You can be as heavy as you want, where Cruiserweight, the max limit is a certain limit. I don't know. I'm getting into a bunch of details that probably don't matter. I've always said, I like it when anyone can face anybody. So I would like it to be more of an X division thing. Dylan Matthews says Lorcan is still 190. I don't know about that. He looks heavier than 190. How tall is Lorcan? That's the question. Because if he's 6 foot, no way is he 190.
I would think he's like 5'11", 6 foot. If I had to eyeball it, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not looking it up here.
From looking at it, I would say he's 5'11", 6 foot. And if that's the case, no way is he 190 built like that.
So Lamb confirms this. The banner says World Heavyweight Champion. The graphic says WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but it's called WWE Championship on air. Yeah, I figured that because I remember seeing the design shop zone back when I had some extra cash. Like, should I get one? Nah.
Yeah. Yeah. Title belts, they're so tempting, but I never do it.
Man, I think it's okay to have one. My thing was if they still had the WWE UK title, I would have got that one too, and I'd be fine. But when I went to NXT UK, I'm like, like that one didn't have a tournament to crown the winner. Dylan says Lorcan is 6'1".
No way is he 190.
I feel inadequate.
I call shenanigans if he's 190. No way.
I mean, he could also be a thigh guy too. But hey. I'm trying a new segment out here on Draped in Gold. This one's called NXT Notes. Comes like a rapid fire segment there, Jack Farmer. Other things that popped in my head while I was watching both programs. Let me know what you think. Have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Bam. Besides the way being hilarious, we'll talk about that there. So earlier last night on the show, they were talking about Raquel Gonzalez had her interview with Mackenzie, but Dakota Kai got in there and said, we weren't done talking. Jack Farmer, is Dakota getting jealous of the reign of Raquel Gonzalez?
I know this is rapid fire, but as a backstage interview, one of my biggest fears is I'm going to interrupt them before they finish talking. So I actually felt really bad at this point. but I don't think Dakota Kai is getting jealous because I think Dakota Kai is too smart. The fact is, if you're in the women's division in NXT right now and you want to be a champion, you better be campaigning to William Regal to start another title because there's no way you're getting it from Raquel Gonzalez, and Dakota Kai is smart enough to know that.
I can imagine that, the non-Raquel championship. We also saw a fired up Leon Ruff slamming the lockers, getting all upset. Is this good, bad, or neutral for you when it comes to Leon Ruff's prospects?
I like the intensity. I like the energy. I love the emotion. I really think it's time for him to start focusing on someone else, though.
Hands down for me, the favorite promo of the night was Mercedes Martinez. 2 camera angles, but I believe every single angle of it. Mercedes Martinez may not be the favorite, but if she won the title, I'll be okay with it.
We talk about unstoppable forces and immovable objects. Mercedes Martinez is an unstoppable force, and that means you can run, you can hide, but she will find you and she will get you. And if she's going to have a clash with Raquel Gonzalez, that is a fight I would pay money to see.
Mercedes Martinez is the kind of person that, like, if she beats you up, you can't tell your cousins about it because they won't jump in. They'll be like, "Oh, she beat you? You probably deserve it, homie."
I would reference the beginning of the show where I'd say, "Look, Flobo doesn't want his friends at ringside. He made it very clear. He doesn't want me there."
Bam! I agree with you, Dylan. I do think Kaya jealous. That might be a storyline later. LA Knight was in a commercial with Ric Flair for Car Shield. Tell me more.
Car Shield cars go farther, man. Car Shield is such a great company. It's such a cool thing. If you're someone who is worried about expenses on your car breaking down or having issues, give Car Shield a call. Lots of people from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood are in there. David Marquez is in there. And of course, Ric Flair, is in there.
Woo! Imperium has told us for weeks they're expanding, but I've seen no prospects. What gives, bro?
Well, you got to establish yourself first, and that's what they're doing. They're taking out the trash. They're beating up the guys that are all jokes in the wrestling world of NXT. And if they're going to expand, I think it might happen sooner than later. And I think they have to make an example first by showing that teams like Team Dank are jokes and ruining wrestling.
Leave Drake Maverick out of this. He's a good guy. He has a family, I think. And finally, Io Shirai had an interview with the evil Beth Phoenix, showed her losing on the screen. But Frankie Monet gets involved, and we learn that Presley in real life is Presley on air. Thoughts about this exchange?
We actually agree on something. I said Beth Phoenix is such a jerk for saying, "Hey, check out this video of you losing."
What are you doing, Beth?
What a mean thing to do. Could you imagine? Hey, Flobo, but like, now that I got you on the show, here's a picture of you getting dumped.
Totally.
Let's talk about it.
Or my old DJ sets, either one.
Yeah. That's so funny. But I think it actually is very serendipitous. I always say NXT is so good about finding new people to replace the people who are taking time off. Io's taking time off. And if you're going to have a new figurehead for the division, I can't think of a more fashionable figurehead to put in their place than Frankie Monet.
And I guess bonus lastly, GYV gets a match, or victory, over Breezango. And we've been saying, when's it happening, man? When's it happening? But I do feel there may be a sort of a turnaround for them, an organic growth away from a tournament. Thoughts?
I think this was the kind of win they needed over the grizzled old veterans.
Well done.
And it was, this is exactly what they needed. I always look at grizzled young veterans, and I think that if I was younger, I would hate these guys. And now that I'm an adult, I just appreciate them. They're so good. This is what they needed to get things back going. They have the world open to them, whether they want to eventually become the NXT champions or if they want to go to Raw or SmackDown and completely revolutionize those divisions.
I'm totally in the minority. I know how good Zach Gibson is, but James Drake talk sometimes, maybe half the times, because it feels like you don't say anything. It's just kind of weird.
Well, I mean, when you got one that's so good, I mean, maybe he's soon to say something. I don't do it as good as you are. You're a better, you imitate it better than I do.
Because it shocks my soul, man. Soon recognize. All right, let me move number one. Jack Farmer's about high time to get out of here because we have so many shows to do. Our sister show at Lead of the Week is every Wednesday night on the Jack Farmer Network. So we're always prepping and watching wrestling shows for that. But it's now time. My favorite segment of the show is the MVP of NXT. And that's the person or staff or tag team that did the best work, the most work for you in either brand. Lay it on me, Jack.
This week with a bullet, it is going to Sam Gradwell. Reversed his fortunes and got a big win. Now he's not just a great talker. Now he's not just a hard hitter. He's also a winner.
Wow. Solid choice. I can't disagree with that one. My one is Sarai, probably an easy choice, but I think she delivered. For someone who had no opinion about her at all, I gave her a fair shot. I got every single reason why I should have my eyes on Sarai plus more. So credit to her talent. Credit to Zoe Stark, that segment, and the brand, because I am on board looking for merch as we speak. Well, it's about that time you're all out of here, Jack Farmer. Where can the world find you online and keep up to date with all your stuff?
You can find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media, where I have things like the Anytime Radio Show, where we count down the top 10 songs of the week and have guests on and chat about different types of music depending on what they request. I had you on a while ago, and it was kind of fun there too. James Lott Jr., just recently, we did a big 80s deep dive. Also, I do, as mentioned, Elite of the Week. I do Everything Tournament, which we're about to film in about an hour. And I am a host and backstage interviewer for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which you can find on KDOC TV here in LA, Fight TV streaming, and on YouTube.
Presented by CarShield.
Presented by CarShield. CarShield cards go further.
At Flobo Boyce on Twitter, at Flopito on Instagram. 2 ways to follow me on the digital space. Want to book me for your live events? Flopito.com, FLOBITO.com. New content every Wednesday. And if you want to see the shows that I host or produce, newamsterdam.com, KNEWamsterdam.com. Welcome, citizens. But until next time, Jack Farmer, say the words.
Do your best and be yourself.